Hey everyone, it's Alexander, the real Mr. Robinson, and hey, I found time to do a spoiler review for Spider-Man Far From Home. And the two stingers in this movie are really what I want to talk about. But before I talk about the two stingers, I gotta talk about Mysterio, because I cannot talk about those two stingers without talking about what happens with Quentin Beck in this movie, because I think we all knew going into this that Mysterio wasn't going to be a good guy. He was going to be the film's villain. Because even if you don't know Spider-Man's villains in depth in terms of their backstory or characteristics, then you already know that Mysterio is a part of Spider-Man's rogue gallery of villains, like Dr. Octopus, like Green Goblin, Vulture, Electro, Venom. So it really didn't come as a surprise, but I will give the movie this. They did such a good job of making Quentin Beck seem like a good guy and a pseudo-mentor for Peter Parker that when it was actually revealed he was the villain, I was like, oh man, I mean, it had to happen, but he was such a nice guy. So what's the deal behind Quentin Beck this time? Well, it turns out he was a disgraced Tony Stark employee. He was the one that actually created this holographic technology that we saw in Captain America Civil War, binarily augmented retroframing, or BARF. God, that's such a stupid acronym. And apparently he was fired from Stark Industries. Since he was the one who created this technology, he should have been given those glasses that Tony Stark uses, that he eventually passed on to Peter Parker after he died. And Mysterio's just been working this whole time to get those glasses. And he pretty much wants to show the entire world that he could be the next Iron Man and be the next great superhero and Earth's best defender, rather than this kid that Tony Stark just brought in. So yeah, Peter Parker lost the glasses, he screwed up big time, but eventually he gets picked up by Happy, who gives him a motivational speech telling Peter that Tony wouldn't have sacrificed his life to save the world if he knew that Peter Parker wouldn't be there after him. So there's your motivational speech. Peter Parker gets back into gear, creates that red and black Spider-Man suit that they keep promoting in the trailer as he rocks out to AC/DC's Back in Black, which unfortunately Peter Parker has to say, I love Led Zeppelin, which... how dare you disgrace AC/DC like that, Parker? How dare you? But anyway, they head to London, Peter Parker eventually gets the glasses back, and Quentin Beck is killed by one of the drones that's actually used to project all these holograms. Yeah, I forgot to mention that part. The elementals and all of Quentin Beck's powers and abilities are just holograms. They're not real at all, and they were all created through BARF. It's still a weird acronym. So yeah, Quentin Beck dies, Peter Parker saves the world, he and MJ finally hook up and they become boyfriend-girlfriend, and the end of the movie before credits is MJ going with Peter Parker as he's swinging through the city. The first time in the MCU we actually get to see Peter Parker swing through New York City, and it's just awesome. And then after the credits, it picks up right where it cuts off, and this is where we get our first stinger, where Peter Parker and MJ land on the ground. MJ tells him that she's never doing that again, and just as Peter Parker takes off, there's breaking news that goes into more detail about the London attack by one of the other elementals. And it pretty much is Quentin Beck framing Peter Parker, making it seem like Peter Parker killed Quentin Beck in cold blood and that Spider-Man just went rogue and became a villain. And the person who delivers this leaked video is Jonah Jameson of thedailybugle.net. And when this moment came up, the entire audience went, "What?" And my jaw was dropped throughout that entire cameo, because it's not just J. Jonah Jameson, it's J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson. That's right, J.K. Simmons, who was J. Jonah Jameson in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy, came back to pretty much play the Jameson that we see in the Spider-Man game for the PS4, where they pretty much turned him into Alex Jones. And this is a really smart move on Marvel, because they knew nobody could replace J.K. Simmons as this character. He made it, he owned it. Just like Hugh Jackman can't be replaced as Wolverine, or Robert Downey Jr. can't be replaced as Tony Stark / Iron Man, J.K. Simmons cannot be replaced. And so basically Spider-Man's been framed, and as the final insult to injury, the end of Quentin Beck's leaked video is him pretty much telling the entire world that Spider-Man's name is Peter Parker. And Peter Parker's last line in the movie is Aunt May's last line when she discovered that he was Spider-Man. What the f-? And then it cuts to black, credits, and I am just That's where I became the entitled fan, where I want to see what happens next. I am dying to see what happens next, and what will they do? Obviously, Spider-Man's probably going to be a refugee, but will the Avengers take his side if they even decide to include the Avengers in the next one? Will they bring in the Punisher? Will they bring in Kraven the Hunter to hunt him down? What will they do? Now, I understand with the Punisher, after the series on Netflix got canceled, they can't use that character for a couple of years. Oh man, I want them to wait so they could use the Punisher, but man, to have to wait that long to see what happens after this is killing me. So yeah, that's awesome. And then we get the end credit stinger, which doesn't really have much to do with Spider-Man, but the broader MCU. And it turns out this whole time, Nick Fury was Talos in disguise. That's right, Ben Mendelsohn comes back in this movie as Talos from Captain Marvel, and Talos' wife was playing Maria Hill this whole time. So where's Nick Fury, actually? Well, Nick Fury's up in space with a bunch of other Skrulls on board a giant space station in who knows where, and I feel like this might be the first introduction to S.W.O.R.D. If you're not too familiar with S.W.O.R.D., and my only frame of reference is, again, Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes, S.W.O.R.D. is pretty much the shield of space. And S.W.O.R.D. actually translates to Sentient World Observation and Response Department. So if this is indeed S.W.O.R.D., it makes total sense for them to pop up at the end of the Infinity Saga, because I'm sure everyone wants to be on alert and monitor anything that could be as big a threat, if not bigger, than Thanos. Galactus! Just a thought. So we see that Nick Fury's involved with it, the Skrulls are involved with it. Could other alien races be involved with it? Could this be where they eventually take Captain Marvel and develop Carol Danvers even further? So this goes back to what I said in my spoiler review for Avengers Endgame. I am on board and excited for what the future of the Marvel Cinematic Universe has to offer. And with Comic-Con just around the corner, I'm curious what they're gonna do there. Is it gonna be just a tribute panel to the Infinity Saga? Or are we gonna hear info on more movies coming up? Like, are we gonna hear on Black Widow, The Eternals, Shang-Chi, Doctor Strange 2, Black Panther 2, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3? I'm just overloaded with excitement on the future of the MCU. And with D23 being this year as well, they might introduce some stuff there too. So I'm excited. It's an exciting time to be a fan of the Marvel Universe. So yeah, I'm hyped. Bring on whatever comes next. And that's all I really have to say about the spoilers for Spider-Man Far From Home. Again, didn't really have much to say outside of Mysterio and the two stingers. Now I want to know what you guys think about the spoilers. What was your opinion on J.K. Simmons coming back as J. Jonah Jameson? What were your opinions on Nick Fury actually being Talos and the possible development of S.W.O.R.D.? Whatever the case may be, let me know in the comments below. And until next time, I hope you enjoyed this review. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, give this video a like, and of course leave a comment. Don't forget to support my Patreon page, follow me on social media, and until next time, this is the real Mr. Robinson telling you, there's only one.